Welcome to Live 365 Radio. It's your girl Stacey J, and that means it's Thursday, and we're back with another dope conversation with another dope guest. And my guest today is Reka Robinson. She is the owner, the coach, and the warrior of Single You. And let me tell you what this means, lady, because you know this one isn't good for me. She helped women discover their worth so they can stop tying their identity to men. And so she is also named Top 10 Female Life Coach Transforming Lives in 2020 by Yahoo Finance. And she was awarded Women of Distinction by the Girl Scouts of Eastern, is that Washington and
Idaho. Mm-hmm.
In Idaho in 2020. So welcome to the show, girl.
Girl, you done got my whole resume out.
Oh yeah. I need people to know who we're talking to. You know what I mean? And just that you've done some great things. And because you and I met from kind of a Facebook post, and also a gentleman, Ivan, that we mutually know. And I wrote for guys, I'm going back. So I wrote a post about my 5-year breakup.
Yeah.
And her publicist saw it and was like, oh my God, I think this would be a good guest because she has Single You. And as I read, she's helping women, not tie their worth to a man. And so, of course, that's what I was doing, was explaining that I was untying my worth with a man. And so I did her show, her podcast, and that's how we met. And then we've been connected ever since.
And I was like, Stacey is big sister, so I'm going to be around Stacey. I just love you.
And I love that it's different generations of us that's sharing this journey. Me being in my 40s, about to be 50. And then you have women that are in their 30s and their 20s, and we all kind of end up repeating some of the same cycle, different person. And so this information that I'm sharing, that you're sharing, and other women here on the internet, it is so needed. It is so needed. So can you tell the audience a little bit about Single You?
Yes. So, as you said, so Single You Academy is my online coaching program, resource and community for women who need and want to go on that journey of discovering their worth so that they can stop tying their worth and identity to men, stop being a man pleaser. I want us collectively as a whole to get out of the space of thinking I am only worthy when I am with a man.
Right. Yeah.
Which, we've had this conversation before. We are raised and groomed to believe that the goal in life for us is to get married and have kids.
Yeah.
And once you hit like 25 and that's not happening, especially 30, it's like the whole world, your world is over and you are steady trying to force your way into these relationships just so you can be like the world. When the Bible talks about don't be conforming to this world, that ain't true. And so, so that's definitely what I do with my clients.
And I know that, I've been very transparent, a lot, because I think that's the only way you can really share a real story. You can tell how much you want to tell, but the meat and potatoes of it is people are curious of how did you get here and how did you deal with it? And because I found my way and my journey, I'm like, somebody else may be able to use these strategies and tips. And you're absolutely right. The first thing that we're given as a child is a doll, which teaches us how to nurture and be a mother. And you're 3 years old, and we don't think about that or tie that, but that's what that is. So we're learning how to take care of a kid. Then, we play doctor, we play nurse. So we're learning how to take care of something. And then you throw the man in there, and it's like your identity of you grow up, you go to college, you meet a nice guy, you get married, you have children, you get a house and a picket fence and all that. But nobody's talking about the trauma that people are dealing with in their childhood. So then when they become adults, now you're connecting with somebody that may have trauma, past trauma. You may have past trauma, and neither one of you guys have dealt with it. And so now you end up in a toxic relationship.
Well, and just think about, and all of this is not to throw our parents, the generations before us, under the bus or anything, because they didn't know either. And we're coming off the heels of, they were that generation of women needing to be married, to have a credit card, a house, and all of that. But even in the subconscious, right? It's like, I can look back and be like, yo, Reka at 15 never saw a woman who wasn't married and who didn't have kids. And yes, seeing families is healthy. And I come from a 2-parent household. My parents are still married. My aunt and uncle are still married. Everybody's still married to the same people they were married to when I came out of my mama, which is beautiful. But the subconscious of it is, it's hard to become what you don't see. So I never saw women who were just 30 and living their best life. Again, it just reinforces the fact that your goal is to get married, boo boo.
Yeah. And,
Yeah.
and that's what I like you say, not to knock our parents and not to knock people that want to be married. I've been married. I'm
Right,
divorced.
right, right.
So I think it's a wonderful thing if it's healthy. But however, changing the narrative of you got to have a man. You know what I'm saying? I think it's great to have a king in your life, you know, a man that is understanding and all those great things. However, I don't have daughters, but I wouldn't want my daughters to feel like, you know, you need to be getting married. You're 30, your time clock is ticking. You're going to be alone. And I've learned in this last year, like when we talk, is to be comfortable with being single. It is not a death sentence.
Mhm.
Matter of fact, it's much needed before a relationship.
100%, 100%. I don't want anybody to confuse what I'm saying, right? Yeah, absolutely. Marriage is beautiful
Mhm.
when it's right, when it's healthy. And singleness is not a punishment. And I just am here to sharpen the iron of women who need to hear that singleness is not a punishment. It's an option too.
Yeah.
And you're worthy regardless of your relationship status. You can be happily single and still desire a husband, but I want you to know who you are, know what you want, have the audacity to believe that you can get it, and the patience to wait for it. The problem is we don't have the patience because society has made us like feel like our clock is ticking, blah, 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 right? Like that's the only goal. So we're rushing into these relationships and then we try to stick it out through whatever because we believe that suffering is love. Like I
Yeah.
have to bear the cross for this man, especially Black women, unfortunately.
Mhm.
I have to bear the cross for this man so I can stay in this relationship that the church told me I had to be in, that my mama, society, I feel because I feel unworthy if I don't have a man or whatever. So absolutely, if you want, if you desire that, there is nothing wrong with you.
Right.
Absolutely not. I just want you to know the difference between a healthy relationship, what is healthy hard, and not an unhealthy relationship, and what is abusive. You have
Right.
to know the difference. And if you don't, you're going to be in these cycles of dysfunction,
Yeah.
cycles of dysfunction, and ask yourself, what did you learn from your parents or whoever raised you about relationships? What did
Mhm.
you learn? What did you learn?
You know, one of the things that I did during my time was redefining, re-engineering my mindset of what I've learned. Like my mother wasn't married, you know what I mean? And although I had relatives that were, you know, you're a kid, you just know they're married. You're not in their business. You don't know the ins and the
Yep.
days, all that and stuff. And so for me, you know, I had this relationship made me say, hold on, we need to talk with self, you know. And
Yeah.
once I start realizing, like, let's stop pointing the finger at him. He is
Yeah.
who he is. Let
Yeah.
me see, why are you allowing it? What is in you? What is lacking or what is broken or what is needed that
Yep.
you like, I gotta stick it through because I'm a fighter and you don't give up because life is gonna be hard and stuff, but you're hurting inside to keep this facade up or to keep this relationship going. So for me, I had to take a deep dive and start rethinking for myself and rethinking
Exactly. Yeah.
what do I really want in a relationship? Is it from what everybody has told me what it should look like? Or is it things that I like personally that goes against the grain of the norm? And that's
Mhm.
another thing we're afraid of. It's like if we're not all collectively thinking the same how relationships should be, then you're
Yep.
ostracized from, you know, the rest of the people. And I'm like, I don't care what nobody think right now. Like in a healthy way,
Yeah.
I don't care what you think at
Exactly.
all because
Exactly.
what works for me. So when people, you know, I had someone ask me, why are you single? Like something wrong. And I'm like, it's a choice. And
Exactly.
because of my higher thinking now and my awareness, I know I don't resonate and connect with people like that.
Yeah.
Maybe before I meet a guy, oh, cute girl, you know, you talk to him, get his number,
Yep.
and then you just make it work. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Instead of going, I met this guy, he was nice looking, he's a nice guy,
Yep.
but we don't resonate, and I'm not trying to force it.
Right, right. Or treating dating as data collection, right? Like you're so right. Like, girl, I used to be like, well, I'm having these butterflies and my vagina say he the one, so he the one. Like, and then
Right.
trying to fit what is it, a
A
circle
circle
peg
in
in a
a square. Mhm.
exactly. And because that's what we think, you just make it work. Oh, people just make it work and you stick through and you blah blah blah. And no, that's not, it doesn't have to work that way if you don't want it. So you're right. Defining what it is, how you want to date. You got to define every level for you, how
Yeah.
you want to date, what the engagement will look like, what marriage will look like, blah, blah, blah. And these are conversations that you have with him once you get to the, serious part or whatever. But the dating stage for me is data collecting. So, yep,
Yeah.
I may be in my mind like, girl, he's fine. Oh my God, he's so fine. Da, 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 da. But I know to slow down now,
Slow down.
slow it down, and let me get to know the character of this man. Because, I'm a Christian, and what the Bible say, you will know my people by his fruit. So I need to be a fruit inspector. So
Yeah.
how does he treat people? Does he have a good relationship with his mom? What does he think about counseling? What does he think about women in the workplace? What is
Right.
like, I need to be asking all of these questions in conversational form, not
Yeah.
an interrogation, because I am no longer in a rush. I saw this TikTok the other day, and it was this girl like, this is how girls be on a date.
Oh,
And it was the dude is at her doorstep talking about, yeah, so I'm here. I'm going to come up and knock on your door. And the girl's in the mirror in her wedding dress already. And this is the first day. And she's excited. She's excited because she's
yeah.
excited to be picked. And she's like, we see. So there's this theory out there. I saw this. I think it was one of my male cousins posted it on Facebook, and it slapped me in the face. And I said, "Oh, he chose violence today." Okay.
Right.
The status was, y'all need to understand that women are out here looking for marriage, dating for marriage, and men are just dating.
Yes.
We
They
need
are.
to learn. We as women need to learn how to have more fun and just slow down.
And you know what? It's so true because I was just talking, well, I talk about this all the time when it comes to
Yeah.
dating. It is collecting data.
Yep.
And also, dating could take a year before
Yeah.
you go, I'm your girlfriend or you're my
Yeah.
boyfriend. Because you never really know somebody, but at least a year or 6 months, whatever it is for you, will
Yeah.
give you time to know. Because what happens is you like them in that vagina saying, ooh, and now you have sex with them. Now you're connected through
Yep.
endorphins, you
Yep.
know.
Yep.
Then you're
Yep.
like all the nice stuff, like they say, people have representatives. Then maybe like now, month 3, you like, I don't like who this is as a person. But now you're tied sexually,
Yep.
those sex ties,
Yep.
and now you're going through to try to make it work. I
Yep.
think dating should just have no timeline on it. You
Yep.
guys will know when
Yep.
it feels right and good to say it. But I know some people come in like, I need to know what this is. I'm not knocking you if that's how you feel, because some people are like, I do want to be
Yeah.
married, I want to do this. But that same urgency you have while doing that is going to put you in the wrong relationship. Because
Yeah.
now you told him what he, like, oh, she want to be married, I want to hit it. So I'm going to have her strung along to think that this could possibly lead to marriage when I know it's not. And
Yeah.
I saw someone sent me the lady, the guy, and he was like, I think you're cool and everything. Basically, he wants to do everything that you would do in a relationship without the relationship. And she told him, boy, bye. No, we won't. So you want me to give you my heart, give you
Yeah.
my energy, but you don't want it? She said, no, sir. And that is all I'm saying. And for men, I understand that men go through some of the same thing women go through. It's
Yeah.
just women are more susceptible to just, oh, I want a man. I want to have somebody. My friends all got somebody. Oh my gosh, she's getting engaged.
Yep. Yep.
So
Yep.
I'm with you.
Yeah. Yeah. And it seems like men don't go through it, but it's because they don't talk about it. So where y'all at, men? Like, we want to hear these stories from you as well. And that's, I know you do it, and on my podcast I try to showcase men that I've deemed good men or whatever, to showcase their story, because I would love to hear from them as well.
Me too.
um but yeah, you're so right. It's like, I just, so what I believe that I do, especially with my clients, I know that I do this, in the discovering your worth so that you stop tying your identity to men, is helping you be a fruit inspector. What does character look like? So then when a dude does approach you and he's like, yeah, I don't want all that, but can we just have sex? Basically, you're able to discern that and say,
Yeah.
this isn't for me. A girl the other day was in my DMs talking about, what does it mean if a guy loves, basically, I can't remember how she worded it, but basically this was the gist. What does it mean if a guy loves to have sex with you, but he says he doesn't want to be with you because he's healing?
What?
Exactly. He said, so he wants to be with her sexually, but he says he doesn't want a title or rush it because he is on his healing journey.
And she questioned it. Oh, well, yeah.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, the mind, we're so excited when we get picked. We want to be in these relationships so bad that we will just receive any level. No,
Yeah.
baby. No. What? How he gonna use I'm healing for a reason to not put a title on you, but he still wants to have sex with you. This is what I know about people who are healing. When you were healing, Stacey, when I was, we left the world for like a year. Like
Yeah.
I'm not dating nobody. I mean, you know, I went on a solo trip to Mexico to figure out myself. I wasn't trying to be with a man, period.
Right.
So I'm just like, I want women to, we have to be smarter. We have to be smarter when it comes to dating and what we do with our bodies, what we do with our hearts. You know, the Bible says, guard your heart.
Yeah.
And if a man is telling you something that doesn't make sense
It makes sense.
and
If I
you're
it
questioning
makes
it,
sense, it doesn't make sense. Now, if you said, I like to get to know you, but I'm healing and there's no sex
and
because
there's no sex, exactly. There we
then
go.
I'm kind of like, oh, he's looking for himself. But that's why from what I coach on and teach is I learned in that year so much about me because there were so many new um what do you call it, milestones for me. I became an empty nester, so I had nobody in my house.
Yeah, yeah,
I'm coming off a 5 year, breakup or whatever. I learned a lot about a narcissist that,
yes,
I was like,
yes,
wow. So for me, that's why I encourage women to do that self work. Like I'm talking about before you even look to be with somebody else, do some work
yep,
within because you might be the problem. Meaning they already the problem. They come up
right.
problem, but then you don't have to receive it. And so that's why I'm like, it's hard to look in the mirror and go, maybe I am needy. Maybe
Mhm.
I am an attachment. Whatever those things are, it's hard to look in the mirror sometimes and say
Yeah,
it. I'd
yeah.
rather have that hard, enclosed moment in my house with me than to be out in the world and constantly having the same experiences with men because I don't want to look the truth in my face.
Yeah, yeah, because if you are in this revolving door of dysfunction, sorry, but you do have to look at you. You do.
Yeah.
And that is one of the things, your story and my story are very similar where, I was with my abusive ex for 2 years. And then after he broke up with me, thank God, it was God, like, thank God, because I knew I shouldn't have been with him. But God was like, Lord, she ain't gonna break up with this dude. So let me just have him do it. But
Right.
anyway, so yeah, that's what I did. When after I got out of that relationship, I was like, why have all my relationships been so dysfunctional? Now, my abusive ex was the only like super narcissistic one. He had narcissistic traits. I don't know where he is. I pray for him, whatever. He's never been diagnosed, but I do know in my research and my own case study, he had
Hello.
narcissistic characteristics, like,
Right there.
right, exactly. And so I did question myself. So that's why I went to Mexico by myself for 10 days, Christmas of 2017. I was
Mhm.
in Puerto Vallarta, like looking myself in the mirror, like, Reka, what is it about you that makes you allow men to treat you like this?
Yes.
What is it about you? I stopped blaming them. Oh,
Yeah.
men are crazy. They ain't out here healing. They ain't da 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 da. Okay. But why do you keep allowing this to happen to you? So you're absolutely right. I had to sit with myself.
Mhm.
And yes, a lot of shame came up, but I
Mhm.
got over that with
Yeah.
my journey of journaling, asking myself questions. There's a quote that I love that says, the quality of your life is determined by the quality of questions you ask it. So
Right.
none of us, we think that we know ourselves because we're with ourselves 24/7. I can't leave my body until the day I die, right?
Right.
So we think that we just automatically know ourselves.
Well, love yourself.
But right. And you think, oh, well, I take care of myself. I put on makeup. I dress well. I'm taking care of myself. I'm loving myself. Mm-mm. I need
Mhm.
you to sit down and start asking yourself questions. What is
Yeah.
it about you that allows you to let men, family members, coworkers, children, whoever walk all over you?
And in that moment that I did that, I was like, you don't really love yourself like you thought you did. Yeah, you look nice. Your hair is done. All the things, the outer things that we
Yep.
do to make ourselves feel good. But I'm like, you're a pretty decent person.
Yep.
You don't mean any harm and all this. But then when you get with a guy and stuff, and again, it goes back to I'm saying the re-engineering your mind of what
Yep.
you've learned because at the end of the day, I'm like, if this was somebody on the street said something to you, you'd be ready, like, who you talking to? But then now you're in a relationship, and you're like, okay, well, maybe I could do better. And
Yeah.
it's like, I'm not a workhorse where every time you feel a certain type of way, I'm like,
Mhm.
how high can I go to make this person feel better? So
Yep.
when I sat down and said, yeah, you might not love yourself as much as you thought you did.
Yep.
That's what 2020 became. Self-love journey for me.
Yep.
And when I tell you, I feel so great about myself. That don't mean I need to disrespect a man. That don't mean I need to dog men. I'm not
Yep.
going to do that at all. I'm saying that I love me so much that your BS that you talking to me about you healing, but you want to have sex, that don't resonate with me no more. Like it doesn't make sense to me. So I'm able to identify those things
Yep.
before I put myself back in that situation.
Absolute girl. And it feels so good over here. Like it
I'm like,
feels
I love this. I love my space. I ain't had a low. I tell my friends, listen, I ain't had a lonely night. You know how people be like,
yep.
no, and I'm not saying that you don't crave the attention from somebody else
Right.
eventually, or however. I'm saying I'm not over here like it's been 16 months and
Yeah.
oh my
Yeah.
God, I just don't like this bit. I enjoy it. I listen, ladies, I say this, depending on your age, I've been in relationships for 25 years. I'm saying, to different, my oldest son's father, my ex. So I'm
Right.
saying collectively, 25 years, right? I'm 49. 25 years. 1 through 18 was at home because I was
Yeah.
a kid.
Yeah.
How much time in between have I got for myself to know myself? Because I had a kid at 20. I had another
Yeah.
kid at 26. So what I'm saying is when you look at it that way, you haven't had a lot of time to yourself, to learn yourself, to grow yourself. I came in, bam, I'm a mom. Then I
Yep.
came, bam, I'm a mom and a wife. And then
Yep.
it's like, bam, now I'm divorced. So I didn't have that time. So let's look at, when people look at me and go, well, you've been single a minute. Like, okay, and what does that mean? It's time for what? For me to get back into a relationship? Well, it's
Right.
time for me. 5 years of me enjoying me is well deserved. If that's what the universe has for me.
Yep.
4 years, whatever time I'm single, that is for me to enjoy me instead of be pondering and crying and wondering and weeping about when I'm gonna have another mate. So
Because I would rather be single than be in a relationship and miserable. I have a saying that I say to my clients all the time. How miserable are you willing to be just to be in a relationship? Girl,
yeah.
I used to love saying, I got a boyfriend. I got a boyfriend. I'm about to be 38 on June 29th. And yes, I've had a lot of my early 20s, even though I was kind of dating. I went to Howard University dating. There was always a guy around. Yes, I've never been a wife and I don't have kids, but yeah, there was always a guy around, like just talking, texting, whatever. So now I've been celibate for it'll be right around my birthday. It'll be 2.5 years, and this time has been beautiful. Like you said, just sitting and like we've been saying, sitting and getting to know what is it that you want, and make sure it's coming from you and
Yeah.
not society, not your parents or what have you. And when can okay, anybody listening to this right now, can you honestly say that you have sat down with yourself and asked yourself what type of life you want? What type of life do you want? And then you're gonna have to execute and reverse engineer that. Because if you're like, because I guarantee you, listen, I understand the feelings of feeling lonely, right? When you're living alone and you're doing your own thing. I understand that. For me, it's fleeting. I don't really have those feelings anymore, but I understand where someone could be at that moment. But again, I would rather feel lonely, with myself. And then you said what?
Then miserable with someone.
Exactly. So I'm sure your desire, right, is to be with a man. But if you asked your desire, do I want to be in a dysfunctional relationship or not? Of course you would say no. So how do you not be in a dysfunctional relationship? You got to figure that out. And that's what I walk my clients through. So because nobody says, you know what I want? I want Jerome and Tommy and Jonathan to disrespect me. I want them to abuse me. Nobody says that.
Yeah.
So how are you not going to be abused? You better get to studying that. You better figure that out.
And just like we get coaches for everything else, we don't think about coaching for relationships or just for yourself, because it's like relationships just happen. I met him, he's cute, we start talking. But if you are a person that are new to dating, having a coach is a great thing. Or if you've been through relationships like I have or like you have, it's still good to have a coach, because
Yeah.
sometimes you need a rocket booster. You need to be reminded of who you are
Yeah.
outside of a man, outside of your children,
Yep.
outside of everything else. Because one thing's for sure, when you die, everybody ain't dying with you. You know what I mean? It's just on you. So you
Yep.
have to pour into you and talk to you and know what you want. And now things that I want is so much more different than what I thought I wanted,
Right.
because it was a collaboration of what I want and what they say and what this
Yep.
society speaks. So,
Yep.
it's okay to be different. It's okay to
Yeah.
want different things. If all my girls want a man, it's okay for me. I'm good right now,
Yeah.
and not feel like I got to fit in with the crowd. So I encourage every woman and men too.
Yeah.
Crazy ones out here, some narcissistic women out here too, and women
Listen.
that like arguing because it makes them feel loved. So shout out to the men. I understand that, but like Reka said, we want to hear from you,
Yeah.
because it takes the conversation of both sides to be able to, have some solutions here. Like,
Yeah.
let's have men that come in and say, hey, this, and that, because you got good men out there. It's just
Yep.
like sometimes the good man and the good woman, or the people that have done work, let's say that, don't meet up. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
So we
Yeah.
got to figure all this out as a community, as sisters, as brothers. We have to, figure this out and stuff.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. And it starts with our healing individually, which then makes our collective healing. So
yeah,
like we've been saying, you have to sit with yourself. And mind you, so I'm definitely not a dating coach, right? I tell women I am a self-love and a boundaries coach, because I
yeah,
I got that boundaries on lock for sure.
man.
Like, because that's where it's at. When everybody is like, how do I discover my worth? How do I love myself? I'm like, it's in your boundaries, boom. Get
And
that
it's some
together.
boundaries with your family too. I mean, it's all across the board, because you can't try to have boundaries in a relationship and then your mama running your life. You know what I mean? Or you scared to
Yeah.
say no, or your
Yeah.
cousin, whoever it is. You
Yeah.
got to be able to say no. It's lovingly. It's not, if you know me, I'm not being mean, but no, I don't want to do it. I
Yeah.
don't.
But also,
Be questioned why.
yeah. And also boundaries with yourself, right? So I'm celibate, so I'm not going to no man's house, especially after 9 o'clock. He ain't coming to my house, especially after 9 o'clock. Like, you just have to have boundaries with yourself. And also when I'm talking to, even though I'm not really dating right now, like it's COVID and I'm just, but I have basically put the reins on myself to slow everything down. And when I am talking to a guy, texting or whatever, not talking like, oh, we're serious, but I always make sure, okay, am I doing this because I want him to like me? Or am I doing this because, like, okay, we're just getting to know each other? So I always like make sure I filter myself, because I want to make sure that in conversation with men, I am just having friendship conversations like I would with my best friend Darnell or my best friend Tony or whatever. Like, I
Right.
just don't want to get caught up and swept up in fantasy, right?
Oh, wait a
So
minute. I got something funny for you too. Go
yeah.
ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Yeah. No, no, no. I was just saying, like, you have to put boundaries on yourself as well. And you'll know those boundaries by sitting with yourself and asking questions. But yeah, go ahead.
This one, it was funny though. It says, my phone is dry by choice, because if we start texting all day, every day, we're going to fall in love. And I don't need that negativity in my life right now.
That's where I'm at. That's where
So,
I'm at. That's
and
where
I'm
I'm
not
at.
saying, guys, that love is negative. I'm just saying it can be, if you
It
don't
can
have
be.
boundaries, if you don't know yourself. But I was like, yeah, don't get it
Yep.
twisted. I can make 5 phone calls and be in 5 different relationships if by 5 p.m. However, I'm enjoying this time. I'm like, I'm discovering me, and I love me. And so that's why we share this with other people, because it's like, oh my God, I'm so happy.
I
And
know.
I just want those that are either breaking up, broke up, or just confused in the moment. Girl, it is so much to you that you probably do not know. And that will just make your life so much grander.
Yeah.
If you come in grand, you demand grand. And if it doesn't match it, it's like, I'm sorry, I don't do that. So, girl, I want to thank
Yep.
you for coming on, sharing some of this time with me, because I think this is a necessary conversation consistently. And so,
Yeah. Yeah.
guys, Reka is the bomb. Our conversation on her show went way longer, but if you definitely looking for a coach, just with self-love and boundaries, that's where it starts. It doesn't start with the man, it starts with you
Yep.
personally, professionally. Can you tell them how
Yeah.
they contact you?
Absolutely. And before I do that, Stacy is the bomb. I want her to know that as well. Like, you're right. These conversations need to be had, which is why I started my platform, which is why you started your platform. And we could talk about this for 5 hours, girl. We could examples, all of that. But yes. So if you are someone who wants to discover their worth so that they can stop tying their worth and identity to men, listen, you got to reach out to me, because I don't know you. You know what I mean? Like, I pray every day, God, send me the women that are my assignments, the ones that need to hear that singleness is not a punishment, that they are worthy regardless of their relationship status, because sometimes you don't know where to start. So I say, start with me. So on Instagram, I am just JUST me, Reka, REKA, like you see on the screen. And also you can check out singleyouacademy.com.
Absolutely. And then you have your podcast.
Oh yes, yep, exactly. Single You, the podcast, and as I say on every podcast episode, you can send me a DM, girl. It ain't gonna be weird. I'm here. I think some people think, oh, I don't want to DM her. I don't want to. Now, men, you can't. No, I'm not dating. So,
I'll be dating her messing with her. No.
Right, exactly. Leave me alone. But yeah, so Single You, the podcast as well, and that's available on Apple Podcasts, Google, Spotify, and more. All you got to do is search Single You. I will pop up. You'll see my little headphones and my little picture. And there we go. Yes.
Do you have any of your product to show?
Yes, I do actually. Right. So I have Single You, the pillow collection now, and you can purchase them. The link is on my website as well, Single You Academy, or on my Instagram profile. But this is the most popular pillow, of course, because happiness over history, girl. Yeah. Happiness over, you don't have to stay with somebody because you've been with them for 5 years. We have to let go of that excuse. And I have 4 different pillows. And so singleness is not a punishment.
Yes.
Yep. And then 1 second. All right. And then another one is Happily Single. Mm-hmm. That in the frame. And then this is another popular one. Everybody loves this one too. Sis, don't do all that healing just to date another broken man. Stay sharp. And I will say on the back, I do have the scripture that Paul wrote in the Bible, 1 Corinthians 7:8. And honestly, 1 Corinthians 7, the whole chapter is about relationships and stuff. But this is where he basically said there's beauty in single, and you are not wrong. And he goes, in fact, you should stay single. You know, and then I just have my little signature down here as well. So, yeah, and I put that on there because I just feel like the church the older generations definitely missed the mark on letting us know that single is an option as well.
Yeah. Do you have your cup, or do I need to get mine?
It is. It's right there, but I can show it. Yeah.
So she has this cup. She sent me a care package, a surprise care package, and she has this pretty pink coffee mug, says Happily Single on it, and then of course her branding on the other end. And I just love when people are able to take their brand and then upsell it with other products and stuff, but meaningful products, because girl, we love pillows, we love cups, we love all things girly. And so I think that was really creative. Yep. That's the cup. So
yeah,
definitely.
And the cups are for my clients. It's part of the welcome package. So you will have to be a client if you would like the cup.
So, but I really appreciate you coming on, and I'm sure we'll have another conversation at some point too, because like I say, it takes a village for everything, to raise kids, to heal. And our experiences are definitely ones that can help other people. And your fingerprint, my fingerprint, and who are those other women that are out here and sharing their stories. Know that you are a testimony for somebody. You are somebody's strength, an example to live in the better life that they are desiring to live. So thank you again. And I will definitely be in touch. Definitely follow Live 365 every Thursday at 7:30 p.m. on YouTube at Live 365 Radio ATL, or on the Experience on Demand Network. You can download that at the Google Play Store or Apple. It was XOD.